What is home if not an architectural position? When home can no longer be located as a singular origin, traditional understanding of home as an architectural space must be abandoned. A house or room bounded by walls, ownership, legislation, and permanence define just one facet of what home really is. Yet, in a globalized world, particularly for many diasporic communities, the architectural home has a history of transience. Colonialism, migration, and racialized exclusion have long disrupted the aforementioned permanence of home as a fixed origin and space. The question therefore becomes not where home is, but how it is produced. This shift in understanding is detailed by Edouard Glissant. From a Caribbean perspective, Glissant challenges models of identity rooted in singular origins and fixed territories. Using theory surrounding relation, Glissant argues that identity emerges through encounters, exchanges, and connections between cultures, rather than through isolation. From this perspective, home is no longer a static condition. It can instead be understood as a continual system of relations that forms part of one's identity. This can often be tied to places, memories, and histories. Since the late 20th century, Elephant and Castle has become a center of Latin American and Afro-Caribbean life in London. Arriving migrants could find food, language, and cultures familiar to home. The Elephant and Castle shopping center thus became more than just a commercial space. It became a cultural infrastructure through which community could be maintained and shared, far from its geographical origin.
Comparado al día de hoy, había muy pocos latinos y resulta que un colombiano abrió un negocio. Fue una gran noticia para nosotros venir, saber que había una cafetería colombiana donde encontrábamos nuestros productos. Jugos naturales, el buñuelo, la arepa, el chicharrón y cosas así como esa. Y se convirtió como en un punto de encuentro para los mismos colombianos donde veníamos los fines de semana y nos conocíamos.
Recipes carry histories, ingredients carry geographies, markets create encounters, and restaurants create gathering spaces. Knowledge is exchanged between generations through acts of cooking, eating, and sharing. Food therefore operates not merely as consumption, but as a medium through which cultural memory is transmitted. However, as Elephant is within London's Zone 1, rampant redevelopment and urban regeneration threatens these infrastructures of relation. Gentrification and the general homogenization of commerce into corporate-owned non-places devoid of cultural relation threaten to marginalize diasporic communities. The Elephant Shopping Center has now been closed for redevelopment since 2020.
Es un centro comercial con cinemas, etcétera, etcétera, y todo eso ha hecho que el área se encarezca. Yo creo que la comunidad latinoamericana nosotros tendemos a desaparecer dentro de unos 10 años, de pronto ya no existimos comercialmente en esta área.
Lo que llaman gentrificación.
Bueno, sí, eso yo lo llamaría un desplazamiento comercial, donde las minorías étnicas se van viendo desplazadas precisamente por el desarrollo económico.
Before closing, the Elephant Center was home to 80-plus independent traders, with many being long-established Latin American businesses. While some traders were relocated, others were unable to secure equivalent premises. According to a 2025 impact assessment conducted by Latin Elephant, 86% of interviewed relocated traders reported declining income following relocation, whilst 81% reported requiring a second source of income to sustain their business. The significance of these figures extends beyond economics. What is being displaced is not simply retail activity, it is an infrastructure of relation. For Glissant, cultures do not exist within the boundary of borders as isolated entities. They arise through contact. Creolization describes the unpredictable process through which different cultures encounter one another and generate new forms without surrendering their differences. Elephant and Castle is a good example. Afro-Caribbean, Latin American, African, and British communities have cohabited the same streets, markets, and commercial spaces for decades. Languages, ingredients, recipes, and cultural practices have all overlapped and transformed through proximity. The result is not the preservation of homeland identity, nor is it the assimilation into a singular global identity. Instead, new geographically specific forms of belonging emerge for exchange. A Colombian bakery in South London is no longer entirely Colombian. A Caribbean takeaway is no longer entirely Caribbean. Each exists within a web of culture, people, and relations specific to London itself. This helps us frame home, then, as something continually produced through interaction. Food, then, does not replicate home, it actively reforms it. Therefore, through everyday acts of exchange, grocery shopping, cooking, and eating, food spaces generate the relationships through which belonging becomes possible. They help transform difference into relation. Perhaps this is what is ultimately at stake within Elephant and Castle. The demolition of the shopping center is not only the loss of a building, it is the loss of a system through which home has been continually produced. Not a home defined by walls, but a home of relation.